Mega Scovillain, a brand new Mega Evolution introduced in Pokemon Legends of ZA, and now for the first time making its VGC debut in Pokemon Champions. A very unique Mega Evolution with a bunch of attack, 138 in both its attack stats. However, speed pretty low, 75. Its defense is not the worst, but not the best either. Can this Mega Evolution be that good? Well, we're going to be trying out a team that was built by the 2022 World Champion and did pretty well in the preseason Champions ladder. We're going to be trying out Mega Scovillain and see how well it can perform, and let's break down this team. So again, the idea of the concept is going to be with Primarina and King Gambit. So Calm Mind Primarina is fantastic. Water Fairy is such a great offensive and defensive typing, and with Calm Minds, like if you're able to boost your special attack and your special defense, you're able to absorb those attacks pretty comfortably and then dish out a ton of damage in response. King Gambit, of course, a really huge threat in the format because after a Swords Dance with the King Gambit, those priority sucker punches are really going to hurt, and they have really great type synergy together. Just being able to have the Steel Fairy water coverage is super solid, and you want to be able to support these weaknesses that these Pokemon have, which is that Primarina, a little bit weak to physical attacks because even though it has really good special attack and good special defense, its physical defense isn't that great. And then King Gambit is vulnerable to fighting type attacks. So you really want to be able to keep those fighting types in check. A lot of the fighting types in the format are going to be physical. So how do we solve this problem? And that is going to be Mega Scovillain. So Mega Scovillain has the ability Spicy Spray, which means that any Pokemon that does damage to Scovillain will get burned. It doesn't matter if it's a contact move or not, any attack will be burned. Physical, special, whatever. It will be burned. And Scovillain is a pretty interesting Mega Evolution. As I mentioned before, it has good attack stats, but we're not using it for its attack stats. We're using it more as a support Pokemon because of the fact that in Champions currently, Safety Goggles is not an item in Champions. So Redirection is even stronger on teams in general. So having access to redirection is super valuable. And you also have a more offensive support on this kind of team because Flamethrower will actually still be able to do a good amount of damage overall while having that Rage Powder redirection can burn the opponents that try to attack the Primarina on its physical side, which is really nice. And of course, those fighting types that King Gambit's a little bit annoying, so King Gambit could live like a burned close combat from a Sneasler, for example. So Mega Scovillain does have those applications. And Leech Seed is going to be there because if you need to stall out and get some recovery, I think it's super valuable. Able to chip away your opponent, put them in range of like a Sucker Punch could be super valuable. And the EV spread here on the Scovillain is going to be max HP. I'm still getting used to these new numbers, so you can copy what's on the screen, but this would be like 156 defense and then 100 special defense with a calm nature overall. You still want to have overall good bulk because ideally, that is what you're trying to do with Scovillain, is survive a bunch of attacks and get the burn, maybe be able to stall out with Leech Seed. And yeah, you want to be able to take those special attacks, especially with Scovillain. The spreads aren't super optimized again, because this is a brand new format. So just want to go generally pretty defensive across the board. And I think the Scovillain set is really able to accomplish that. So is able to support, again, Calm Mind, Primarina, and Swords Dance King Gambit. The EV spreads on the Primarina, it is having enough speed to be able to outspeed Garchomp and Mega Glamora after Tailwind is set up, since we do have that Tailwind option on this team. We also have a good amount of special attack investment. It is going to be 140 EVs wise. And this gives us a special attack stat that you see as an even number. The reason you want an even number is because you get an extra boost or extra stat point if you do go for one Calm Mind, which is pretty nice. But you still want to have a good amount of defense investment. We're going with max HP to take attacks generally well. And then you still want to have a good amount of physical defense because, again, we can't always rely on the burn. We need Primarina to be able to take those physical attacks decently, especially since there are a lot of spread moves like Earthquake and Rock Slide that can still do a ton of damage to Primarina. So you still want to invest a good amount into physical defense. The King Gambit, pretty simple, max attack because the Sucker Punch is where you really want to go for, and then pretty much near max HP, and then I just sped crept a little bit in case you do fight those King Gambits that have no speed investment or 4 speed investment, you know, for Sucker Punch situations, but across the board, it's not really like that important. Overall, it's just a King Gambit. It takes attacks, it's able to dish out a ton of damage after a Swords Dance, especially with the black glasses, really able to do a lot of damage. Then the rest of the team is going to be paired with the Sneasler, the Garchomp, and the Aerodactyl. Sneasler was always a really good pairing. It's very similar to a Regulation H core, which was Sneasler, Primarina, and Kingambit, mainly because of the fact that Sneasler really just able to help out and threaten any fairy types or dark types that resisted the Kingambit dark type moves, as well as like Dire Claw, which is of course really good into any of the grass types. So you have Dire Claw, which is great into fairies, into grass types. Close combat, strong fighting type move, really good against opposing Kingambit, especially the coaching. So you could go for coaching with your Kingambit. You can also go for it with the Garchomp on this team and give an attack and defense boost to your ally. And of course, fake out support. So you can go for fake out Calm Mind, you could go for fake out Swords Dance, fake out Tailwind, fake out an attack, a bunch of different options. Fake out is just a great support move. And we're running the Unburden ability because we have that White Herb, which can be activated through a stat drop on the Sneasler, whether it's an Intimidate drop from the opposing side or your own close combat defense drops. So it is a decently bulky Sneasler that we are running on this team, and the reason is because of the fact that I do have Focus Sash on the Aerodactyl, which I think is pretty important. So on the Sneasler, White Herb I think makes a lot of sense because of the fact that still able to run a good amount of speed. The speed investment on this Sneasler is able to still outspeed Garchomp regularly, so with the +2, you can still outspeed Garchomps under Tailwind. You are able to dish out a decent amount of damage with the Adamant Nature. I don't think Sneasler should be that fast in the format, but it really just depends because Jolly Sneasler is of course going to be always really good, but it really depends on like what becomes threats like Mousehold. I did debate about maybe going Jolly just for Mousehold, but try out Adamant just so I can get as much damage as I possibly can, especially into opposing Kingambits after, again, Intimidates could be a factor, into Incineroars just to be able to chip them away, so I think it can be nice. And then a bit of HP because I did think that the bulk could be nice because it would allow Sneasler to take some attacks you might not expect normally, and especially with the Burn Scovillain, it can definitely make a difference. Then we also have the Garchomp and the Aerodactyl. So originally on this team, it had a Dragonite and a Garganacl. Garganacl got nerfed in this game because Salt Cure is a lot less residual damage than prior, and Dragonite doesn't have access to Loaded Dice because Loaded Dice is not in the game currently. So had to make some adjustments. Garchomp is going to be taking the cause here, and overall it's pretty good. It's good into like Charizard, which is pretty solid. Having that ground coverage can be boosted again by the coaching on the Sneasler, which is pretty nice. And Garchomp's a really good offensive threat, and if they want to intimidate the Garchomp, you always have to worry about the Kingambit, so can take advantage of that, which is nice. And the EV spread on the Garchomp is very simple. Max speed, max attack. It's pretty much a standard Garchomp set whenever you play a brand new format. It's like always just max speed Garchomp because you want to at least be tie opposing Garchomp. You want to outspeed Mega Glamour. You want to outspeed the Charizard Ys in the format. Just max speed Garchomp is pretty solid. I'm running Habanberry. The items are very limited in the Pokemon Champions currently when it's released, so wasn't sure about the item. Habanberry makes sense into opposing Garchomps, which is nice, but also the fact that I was playing a lot of Rain and there were a lot of like Archaludon, so having one for like Draco Meteors is actually pretty decent. So bought Habanberry. I think you could go with like a bunch of different items like Yachi Berry, Soft Sand even. Like I think it just really depends. I don't think Habanberry is necessary, but was an item I thought, you know, could be nice into opposing Garchomp because opposing Garchomp can be a little bit annoying at times. So thought it could be all right here on this team. Finally, we had the Aerodactyl, which I think is a really cool mon in this format. It's one of the faster mons here, and you have access to the Tailwind. And I think Tailwind is really solid, especially with the Primarina, just being able to match threaten Charizard Y, which again is pretty huge because the team doesn't have like a fire resist. I mean, you have Primarina and you have Garchomp, but since I'm not running Rock Slide to Garchomp because I have Rock Slide to Aerodactyl, I wanted a dedicated mon to dealing with Talonflame that could be a little bit annoying. Overall, like the flying types, the ice types are a little bit annoying for this team to handle. So having that really fast Rock Slide can be nice. Unnerve to make sure that, of course, that the opponent can't eat berries. A lot of berries in this format, especially with berries being most of the items in the game, is really great. And Wide Guard is just great against, like, again, Charizard Y, against Earthquake, against a lot of spread moves that can threaten Gambit, especially the Tailwind, of course, the Rock Slide. I think Aerodactyl is a really solid Pokemon in this format, and EV spread, not anything surprising, just max attack and max speed, because you do have a Focus Sash, and of course, if you do fight like any other mons in like the 130 speed tier, you want to be able to outspeed them ideally. So you want to outspeed, of course, like Jolly Sneasler as well, and Pokemon below that. So that is going to be the team. What are the lead options that you can go for with this team? You can go with quite a bit. Of course, Sneasler can lead with any of these mons because you do have access to the coaching, plus the King Gambit and the Garchomp or the Aerodactyl. You can of course go for coaching even into Primarina. Primarina actually doesn't mind the physical defense boost, allows it to eat up attacks even further. Fake Out plus, as I mentioned before, Tailwind, Calm Mind, Swords Dance, or even just attack is pretty solid. So Sneasler is a really great lead in general. I like setting up one of the Calm Minds or Swords Dance immediately, so Primarina or King Gambit can generally lead. Scovillain's really solid because it can just go for the Rage Powder, and of course if you do want to try to burn your opponents immediately so you can set up safer with the Pokemon in the back, I think that's a super ideal situation. And of course Aerodactyl is a really great lead because you do have that access to that Tailwind immediately, which can help dictate the speed. If you'd like to check out the details of the team, there'll be more in the description down below, and if you want to try out, there is a rental code that is going to be expiring a week after this video gets posted. So if you do want to try out the team, make sure you try it out quick. So make sure you grab that with the rental ID. But otherwise, let us get started and play Pokemon Champions for the first time on this channel in a main video form. Let's do it. All right, we have Sneasler, Farigiraf, Incineroar, Floette, Mousehold, and the Primarina. So this is kind of an interesting team. I assume it's mostly Trick Room, although the Mousehold actually makes this a little bit weird because I do not actually have the best answers to Mousehold because, well, I mean, I do have Scovillain, which can burn it, which would be nice. A lot of the physical attackers are probably like big threats to Primarina, which is great. So maybe I could do something with either King Gambit lead or Scovillain lead. The question is, which one do I want to lead specifically? Because the Floette's actually kind of still a problem overall. But I do kind of like the idea of Scovillain plus the King Gambit, I think. I think King Gambit's pretty good here. Even though there's double fairy, which maybe if it's double fairy, then I bring Prim lead. I also don't think Sucker Punch is even that good in this matchup. Yeah, looking back at it, I think Prim plus Scovillain is probably really nice. Sneasler's really good. Do I bring Gambit is the question. Because under Trick Room, Primarina can kind of sweep, so I don't think that's like that big of a deal. I think I'd probably just want Arrow for speed control. I think Arrow is kind of nice because endgame Arrow just being faster than like a lot of my opponent's Pokemon is pretty solid. So if I do end up with like their weakened team and I'm not able to finish the KO, then Aerodactyl probably can revenge cleanup. Farigiraf, Incineroar. So this is a pretty good lead for me, I'd say. As I do lead Scovillain plus Prim. And I don't have a reason to Mega Evolve here, so I think my best play is just to Leech Seed immediately the Farigiraf and go for a Protect or Calm Mind. I think my play here is most likely go for a Protect, although it's not Throat Spray Giraffe. Yeah, it's not Throat Spray Giraffe because Throat Spray's not in the game, so I guess I could Calm Mind. Yeah, I'm just gonna Calm Mind, I think. I'm gonna attempt it because they could just fake out Trick Room as well, and if they fake out Trick Room, that's fine. They go for Parting Shot, that's okay as well because at least I'll have to boost his Spadef. So I think this is a pretty reasonable play here. I don't want to Mega Evolve because there's no target that's worth burning, and a good Moody boost on Scovillain could absolutely drastically change this game. So I will go for it. Get a Leech Seed off, and also they didn't fake out, so this is actually pretty good because I get a Calm Mind and a Leech Seed. Let's see what they decide to go for here. It's going to be Throat Chop into the Prim, which makes sense because that means I can't use Hyper Voice. And we do get the Calm Mind up. So this is still a pretty decent turn here. Also, we note that the Incineroar is faster than my Primarina. So that probably means that the Incineroar actually has speed investment, which is actually pretty good for me. So right here, let's see what Moody I get with this Scovillain. Can I get a good Moody boost? Like defense or special defense would be really nice here. I don't really need special attack in this game at all. A boost to special defense would be really solid here, or physical defense. Both would be really nice. Attack and defense. Not a great one. You can try again, Scovillain. I could Leech Seed here, reading a switch, but I don't think there's a real big reason to. I think it's just always the place just to Calm Mind up with Prim again and just protect the Scovillain. Because Prim is not in any danger against the Incineroar and the Giraffe. They do switch out to Giraffe, which is completely fine, into their own Primarina, so that's perfectly acceptable. I wonder if they Flare Blitz or they Parting Shot. Probably Parting Shot Primarina, but I'm okay with that. As we do get a Calm Mind up, so now if the Incineroar doesn't go for a Parting Shot, it's threatened by Hyper Voice the next turn. So that's pretty solid, but let's see. Nice. So they did go for Flare Blitz. That's pretty incredible for me, because now I can go for Hyper Voice, which is +2, threaten the KO into the instant, and I can Leech Seed the Primarina. Getting some pretty bad Moody boost, but that is the nature of the game sometimes. We will go for Leech Seed into Prim, and we will go for Hyper Voice. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not a speed type between the Primarina and Incineroar, so I do get the KO onto their Incineroar, which is fantastic. So Incineroar goes down, don't have to worry about those defense drops mattering too much here, and hopefully we hit the Leech Seed and a Prim and put it on a timer. They go for Moonblast into my Primarina, but I should absolutely eat that up with the 2 special defense boosts, and I absolutely do. No special attack drop, which is great as well, only 10% in this game, and we get the Leech Seed off into the Primarina. So not bad here, not bad. We will be able to heal up our Prim. And let's see what they decide to go for here. Finally, we get a good Moody boost. I mean, lower special attack, but I'm not attacking with Scovillain. And they forfeit. They kind of realize they can't beat the Prim, so I don't even have to Mega Evolve the Scovillain here. That's funny. Yo, we got Aaron. All right. It feels like the old days where I would play Aaron a lot on Stadium Ladder. Not as much anymore, though. All right, so he's using Talonflame, Garchomp, the Eternal Floette with Mousehold, Rotom Wash, and Aegislash. Super scary, super threatening team. I gotta really respect the Mousehold and the Garchomp. Sneasler's really good here, and I mean really, really good. This is gonna be quite an interesting game because I like Aerodactyl a lot here. Aerodactyl's really solid. I wonder if it's Scarf Garchomp. Unfortunately, I don't have the best ways of dealing with Rotom Wash. That is kind of a concern. Aegislash I'm not too worried about. The Floette is concerning. I will need Sneasler. So I do need Sneasler in the back. I don't want to lead Sneasler because if I lead Sneasler and he leads like Garchomp, I'm mega in trouble. I think Prim is a generally good lead because unless he leads Rotom, and even if he leads Rotom, it's not like too bad. I kind of like Prim because it can absorb a hit from the Floette. And then have like Sneasler Scovillain back, I think. The Mousehold is just problematic because of its Population Bomb. I really do not have the best answers to it. Like Talonflame Mousehold would be a pretty scary lead actually. But I don't know if he would lead that because I do have a Gambit and I do have a Garchomp on my own. So we'll see. It also could be support here. All right. What are you leading? Aegislash and Floette. Interesting lead. Okay. I was not expecting that one. Versus the Primarina and the Aerodactyl. Okay, not the greatest lead here, unfortunately for me, but it's acceptable. I wonder if your Calm Mind. I could set up a Calm Mind immediately, which would be nice here. I am a little bit worried about Talonflame in the end game, but I think probably my best place is to Tailwind and Calm Mind here. Because I really need that special defense boost or Floette's going to destroy me. I was also debating about going to Scovillain and Protect, but the problem with doing that is I could get mega screwed by the... I could get mega screwed by them just Moonblasting immediately, or if they have like Light of Ruin. So I am just going to go for Tailwind, Calm Mind, because I'll outspeed the Floette after the Tailwind. So we will get a Calm Mind here with Prim. Hopefully we will be able to hang on. I guess I could have went for Rock Slide for damage too, but it's acceptable. Okay. Special attack and special defense. They also have Calm Mind. Yeah, that's not like too surprising to me. Okay. What did Aegislash go for? Does it have Substitute? A stance change. Iron Head. Ooh, it's physical. Oh, they target Aerodactyl though. Okay, that's fine. I don't mind Aerodactyl going down. But this is definitely a scary spot. I wonder if I would KO Aegislash with the Moonblast. Probably not, since it's resisted. I think I would want to go Scovillain and Hyper Voice. I'm debating it. Trying to figure out how this works. Because they threaten Shadow Sneak. They threaten quite a few things here. I could Protect, but the Protect is just not... It's not worth the positioning because I still am pretty bad positioned the next turn. I think we go Scovillain and we just go for a... I want to say Protect. Because I can threaten the Aegis Slash with Flamethrower the next turn, I think, which is worth it. I also don't think they're... I think they click either Calm Mind or they're going to click the Moonblast again. I'm going to try to get Scovillain in. I could also... Was Aegis Slash going for Shadow Sneak, or are they going for a... Okay, they protect Float, which is actually really good for me. Okay. Okay, double protect, but King Shield. Okay, that's fine. That works out pretty well for me. Okay. Moody. Nice special defense boost. Perfect special defense boost. Perfect moment. Okay. Now I'm actually in a pretty okay spot where I can go for like Flamethrower plus Hyper Voice and threaten a lot of damage here. And I think I will absolutely go for that. So got a really good turn with my Scovillain. And the question is, are you going to have Wide Guard and do you go for it? Also, does Aegis Slash the Flamethrower and the Hyper Voice? It could. Mega Scovillain has some good special attack though, so I'm not 100% certain on this calc, but you know what, we'll risk it here. Nice, no Wide Guards. Flamethrower comes out. Okay, yeah, that should be Hyper Voice range easily. All right, we get the Hyper Voice, beautiful. We KO the Aegis Slash, which is fantastic. I wonder if they have Mouse Hold in the back. They're gonna Moonblast my Primarina. That makes sense. I should live because it's just regular Moonblast at that point. Yeah, but it does disgusting amount of damage, as you can see. Leftovers. Okay. So what's next? Talonflame? If it's Talonflame, I'm clicking I'm clicking Hyper Voice plus Rage Powder. Because Brave Bird threatens the Primarina here. Yes, Talonflame. Alright, we go for Rage Powder and a Hyper Voice. I wonder if they're going to Tailwind themselves. I don't think Gleam gets me at this range. I think I'm like barely out of Gleam range if I'm not mistaken on my Prim. So I will go for Hyper Voice here and Rage Powder. If I lose both Pokemon here, it's not too bad, but it really just depends on their last Pokemon. They do go for Tailwind, that makes sense. And I should get the knockout on Talon unless it's Sash. They do go for Moonblast, which is nice because they'll burn themselves. Beautiful. That's a great turn. Special attack drop. I don't really mind that too much. Spicy Spray. And here comes a Hyper Voice. Okay, really good turn. Yeah, I get rid of Talon. And now it comes down to the last Mon here from Aaron. If it's Mousehold, I'm a little bit scared, but we'll see. Tailwind peters out from my side. They have 3 turns of fresh Tailwind. Let's see what their final is. Garchomp. Okay. If I protect with Primarina, I'm pretty sure I live Earthquake. Also, it's kind of weird because they can't really Earthquake themselves, because if they go for Earthquake, then the Floette takes damage. So unless this is like Swords Dance Garchomp, I think my best play is just to double protect here. The next turn could be scary, but we'll find out. I'm kind of curious on how he trained the Floette and the Garchomp because they both are the same speed tier of 102. So I'm kind of curious. I do want to see if the Garchomp moves first or the Floette. So we will double protect with both Pokemon because we're stalling out turn of Tailwind. Stomping Tantrum. Okay, into the Scovillain. It doesn't burn through the Protect though, unfortunately. Imagine if it did, that would be insane. All right, I'm liking this spot now. I'm really liking this spot because I can go for Rage Powder Moonblast. I will always target the Garchomp because I do have the Sneasler in the back. So we'll always go for the Rage Powder here. Do I go down to the... I was -1 defense, right? I am. I think overall that's okay though. Yeah, that's fine. As long as I get the burn on Garchomp, I should be good. So I'm going to Rage Powder, and I'm going to go for a Moonblast into the Garchomp. Still my best play regardless. They go for Stone Edge, and they missed the Scovillain. That's unlucky for Aaron. Because the Stone Edge would have KO'd the Scovillain, of course. It would have knocked out the Scovillain. And that means that he could have potentially got a double knockout. Granted, he would have been burned with the Garchomp, and as long as he was burned with the Garchomp, I still was like pretty happy with my position regardless. but that is unlucky because now he just guaranteed loses the game to the Sneasler. Granted, I still think like it was still a game, but I think it's like way more likely in my favor because my Sneasler will live it will just live the attacks from the Garchomp. So I think I'd be fine regardless. But yeah, obviously unfortunate, but yeah, now I just guaranteed win here. Yeah, it's about is going to be forfeited. So, okay, Scovillain didn't even get a burn. It didn't get a burn. Well, it did on the Eternal Floette, but I mean, the Rage Powder was important, and as you saw, Moody kind of that ability sometimes. Moody, that kind of ability. Huge Spadef boost when we needed it. All right, we have Frostlass with Primarina, Sinistra, King Gambit, Sneasler, and the Hisuian Arcanine. So this is the first time I'm encountering Mega Frostlass, so I actually do want to see, because I do know that Frostlass does get pretty interesting. Like, it does get the Snow Warning, which is actually pretty cool, but I don't know its stats. It's base 120 speed and 140 special attack, which is pretty good. I do think Aerodactyl is actually a really solid mon here. Scovillain's also really good too, because Scovillain being able to burn a lot of these mons is great for me. So Primarina's looking pretty good here. They don't have the best answers other than the Sneasler. I could go with back Aerodactyl as well. Back Aerodactyl's not too bad. I don't know if they're going to lead the Frostlass. It could be like a Roarveil setup, which would make sense to me. I think my best lead is just Primarina Scovillain, though. It is a pretty good lead for me in general. And then I think in the back, do I want Gambit? The thing is, their Frostlass is really weak to Gambit. Like, they have two mods that are really weak to Gambit. But I think it's Sneasler Aerodactyl, because I like Sneasler to deal with their own King Gambit as well as the Primarina, and I do like my own Aerodactyl just because I like having something that can allow me to have some speed advantage, because I think the Rock Slide is actually pretty good into this team because they don't exactly have the best resist other than Gambit and Sneasler. Sneasler's kind of frail, and of course if it's Gambit, not the biggest worry. So let's see, gonna be Gambit and the Sneasler. Okay, so this is a classic VGC lead versus Scovillain and Primarina. All right. I think my best play here is just to go out of my own Sneasler, because I think Sneasler's in a good spot. And let's go for a Mega Evolution so we can get that burn chance. And do I want to... I don't really have to threaten the Gambit here. I kind of want to threaten the Sneasler. I think we just go for a Flamethrower into the Sneasler. Because right now, they don't have the best ways of threatening the Sneasler if this is like the standard sword stance on the King Gambit. So I think this is pretty decent here. And Sneasler is in a pretty good offensive spot if it's not taking Iron Head. If it is taking Iron Head, it shouldn't go down to Dire Claw plus Iron Head, but I think that's super unlikely. They go for Dire Claw. They target Scovillain, which is actually kind of nice because that means they will get burned. We do get Parado, which is very unfortunate actually, but... Spicy Spray will activate. Sword Stance is fine because we do have our Scovillain out and Flamethrower. Okay. Not bad. Could have been better, but not the worst. I think here I always want to go for close combat into the Gambit. But the question is, what am I doing afterward? I am debating about just going for close combat plus either Flamethrower or close combat plus Rage Powder. Their options are like protect Gambit usually. You should always try to protect Gambit. And the question is, are you going to try to get in Sinistra here? Or are you going to sack the Sneasler? Because if I Flamethrower, I think it's not too bad. But yeah, I think I definitely attempt to close combat. And the question is, do I Flamethrower or do I go for Flamethrower trying to catch the Sinistra? Or do I like protect to stall out and hope that they stay in with Sneasler, trying to sack it here? I think I just protect. They did retreat to Sneasler, so this is probably the... Oh, it's Frostlass instead. That's fine. Okay. As they go for protect. I need Scovillain not to get parried the next turn. Okay. So obviously if I Flamethrower the Frostlass, it would have been a better spot, but granted, this is not the worst. Assuming I get the close combat off into the King Gambit, I'm in a pretty good spot, because even if they Aurora Veil, close combat is going to do a ton to the Gambit. And if they Aurora Veil, that means King Gambit's targeting the Scovillain, which means they would get burned. So I'm going to Rage Powder here, and I'm going to go for close combat. as they don't really have any good counterplay. If they switch out Gambit, they lost momentum, which is huge for me. So I am okay with that. Kind of curious, because Frostlass is base 70 in HP and defense, how well it will take the Rock Slides. But we are going to see the Terrestrialization come out from the Frostlass, so this is going to be Snow Warning. I really can't afford to get paired, because if they Sucker Punch Blizzard on a YOLO, I'm in a really bad spot. Guess who lived the Blizzard? Guess who lived the Blizzard if I got the Rage Powder off? That's right. This has been my luck today when trying out this team. Like my Scovillain, for context, I tried out the team before. I got like crit in the first game into like, oh man, I don't even want to get into like how unlucky I am with this, but maybe we can win with Prim. It's super unlikely though, but it's possible. Do I want a Rock Slide flinch, or do I just want... I think I just protect and I go for a Calm Mind. Do I need a flinch on Gambit? I don't think they suckered the Aerodactyl. I think I go for Rock Slide flinch. I think that's my best out. Yeah, I think that's my best out. Go for Calm Mind. And Rock Slide. And then next turn, maybe Hyper Voice. Oh, they actually did go for Sucker. So if I flinch the Frostlass, we actually have an okay spot. It's not the worst. I need to connect. Okay. Actually good damage on Frostlass. Nah, it's over. Because I lose to Sneasler back. That's so unfortunate, because I think it was a very likely chance I win, assuming I get the Rage Powder off, because Rage Powder comes out, Sucker Punch fails into the Rage Powder because it targets the Scovillain, Close Combat comes out into King Gambit, takes a knockout into King Gambit, and then it's like Frostlass, Sneasler, and then whatever else is in the back, but I don't think they threaten Primarina plus Aerodactyl, plus, yeah. I also would have had a coach, I would have had the Unburden boost on my Sneasler. It was looking like a really good spot to win the game. That is very unfortunate, but that is this game sometimes. Also, I'm not used to forfeit being the menu here, but that is Pokemon. Dire Claw still affects this game. 30% over 50, but Dire Claw will still rob games. All right, this isn't a run back. This is just a super similar team. I honestly thought it was a run back for a second. I had to double take, but all right. They have a really, really weak team to Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl's really good here. And so is Scovillain. I think this time, I'm trying to think about the lead. I really like the Sneasler and I like the Scovillain a lot here. I think it's lead-wise is probably Sneasler, Scovillain. I'm debating about Prim a lot here, which is really good with Hyper Voice. But the Gambit Sucker Punch is actually really tempting. Man, the Gambit Sucker Punch is just really tempting. Because if I get boosted with Gambit, it's such a good position. I think I'll go for it. Because I could also do like coaching, switch to Gambit as well as a play. So I think that's probably better. I want Aerodactyl for sure. Because Aerodactyl Rock Slide hits really hard in this matchup. Prim was also pretty tempting. The only reason I didn't like Prim is just because of how slow it generally is. It is a better switch to Blizzard, but I think this is still pretty reasonable. Let's see. I also like can't call mine safely against a Whimsicott, which is also pretty annoying. All right, so they lead Frostlass plus the Arcanine, so I'm actually going to be able to get a boost immediately with my Sneasler, which is kind of nice. Okay, so these Pokemon are my answer to Gambit. I can't really get like super weakened with both Pokemon. I can't really afford to. So, Rock Slide Blizzard makes a lot of sense here. I don't think they're gonna Flare Blitz the Scovillain. I think my best play is probably just to either, I think it's to set up a coaching immediately. I wish I led Gambit, but this is still pretty reasonable, I think. I could also close combat the Arcanine, so they might be scared as well to attack this turn, but I do like the idea of coaching go into King Gambit. I think unless they go for like a big Flare Blitz here into one of my mons, I should be in a good spot. And they actually retreat the Arcanine, so this is good for me. They go into their own Sneasler, so... I mean, this isn't great for my King Gambit, but I mean, it's still not like terrible. Because they also have to fear about switching to Arcanine ever. Alright. So Mega Frostlass is in. Are they Aurora Veiling? Are they clicking Blizzard? Both would make sense here. But we will get the coaching off with my Sneasler. They do go for Blizzard immediately, okay. Okay, nice. No freeze. And I can either go for coaching again, or I could go for Dire Claw. I think I'm going to go for Dire Claw into the Sneasler, and I'm just going to protect my Gambit, because then I could go for like Sucker Punch Rock Slide into Sneasler the next turn with my Aerodactyl, and I think I would be in a really good spot. So I'm just going to go for Protect Dire Claw. Also, they might be scared of attacking with Frostlass because of the threat of Sucker Punch. They go for Fake Out in the Gambit, that makes sense, and then they're going to go for Blizzard, which is also reasonable. So I do get a Dire Claw off into the Sneasler. Good damage, actually, like really reasonable damage. And they go for Blizzard, perfect, okay. So Sneasler goes down, but that is pretty acceptable because now I can go out into Aerodactyl and set up a Rock Slide Sucker Punch position. I could also go out into Scovillain as well, which is also pretty good. I am debating about actually going Scovillain, but if I go Scovillain, I am a little bit concerned about their own Gambit in the back if it has low kick. So I think I should save Scovillain and go Aerodactyl and just go for my initial Rock Slide Sucker Punch plan. Yeah, I like that more. So I'm going to go for a Rock Slide. Should do half to the Frostlass, and I'm going to Sucker Punch the Sneasler. I wonder what their last mon is, but if it is Gambit, that is going to be a pretty scary mon to deal with. But yeah, I think this is like my best play here. They switch out the Frostlass into Arcanine, it looks like. Wait, that's just going to give me a more powerful Sucker Punch, which is really good for me. Unless they're going to go for coaching with their Sneasler. Okay, no. Sucker Punch, they gave me the boost. I KO the Sneasler, and I get a single target Rock Slide off. Fantastic. That's a great turn. That is an amazing turn for me. Single target Rock Slide should do a lot of damage too. Beautiful. Yeah, good damage. I'm not really worried about the Frostlass. Okay, Frostlass coming in. Okay. My best play here, is it the Tailwind? I don't need Tailwind though. Tailwind doesn't get me anything. It's probably just a Rock Slide realistically. I could protect if I fear Extreme Speed, but I don't really fear the Extreme Speed. I think I'm just going to Rock Slide and I'm going to Sucker. I'm going to target the Arcanine. If they Extreme Speed, that's fine. They protect with Frostlass because they're scared of the Sucker there, so that actually works out beautifully if I KO the Arcanine. Unless they're Wisps, but they're not Wisps, so I do get the KO on Arcanine. And if they're a Wisp, like, sure, they burn the Gambit, but my Gambit's still doing a lot of damage, right? Because I'll still knock out the Frostlass with +3 burned Gambit, so I felt like it was a pretty fine risk for me to take. Because like Frostlass doesn't have a move that can threaten the Gambit in this position. So now it's down to the final two. Gonna be the Whimsicott. Okay, that was your back, which is an interesting choice. Okay, that works out pretty well for me. Because now I'm gonna go for a wide guard. Oh, they're gonna forfeit. Okay. I don't even get to bring out the Scovillain. But Scovillain also was gonna win this game after just me spamming Sucker Punch. Next to Scovillain. All right, we have Tyranitar, Incineroar, Whimsicott, Milotic, Sneasler, and the Glamora. So probably going to be a Mega Glamora team if I had to guess. It could be like Mega Tyranitar as well, but that's completely fine. Let's see, what do I want to go against this team? The Glamora is pretty scary matchup-wise, but do they have the best answer to Garchomp? I feel like they don't. Like Garchomp, they have 4 ground weeks, which is very concerning for them. Do I want to lead Garchomp plus King Gambit? I think Garchomp King Gambit makes a lot of sense. I could also lead Garchomp plus Aerodactyl, which is also pretty reasonable. But I kind of like the Garchomp plus the Gambit, because if they lead Incineroar to try and weaken my Garchomp, My Garchomp's gonna go crazy against them. But do I want Aerodactyl? Aerodactyl's kind of nice. But at the same time, I could probably do something like Prim plus Scovillain as well. I am a little bit concerned about like losing the Speed War, but granted, like the mode I'm going for doesn't really rely on speed other than Garchomp. Garchomp being faster than all these Pokemon would be nice, but it's not necessary. Because max speed Garchomp is 1 point faster than Mega Glamora, so that's something to keep in mind. Because Glamora hits 101. And Mega Glamora does get adaptability in this, but it doesn't really get any moves to hit the Garchomp other than Dazzling Gleam, I guess, but it's not like going to do that much damage. So Sneasler Milotic, this is pretty reasonable for me, as I will lead the Kingambit into Garchomp. Okay. I wish I had Yachi now, because I've been running Habon, because I've seen so many Dragon moves, but this is pretty reasonable. Okay, I like the idea of just protecting the Garchomp, and I actually, do I want to swap out the Gambit into the Scovillain, or do I want to go out and Prim? I could also just double protect here, which is also pretty reasonable. How necessary is Kingambit? It's not necessarily. But I think I should just go for a double protect turn 1. It most likely is a fake out. Oh, if they switch out Sneasler, that's not too bad for me. What comes in? Whimsicott. Ooh, okay. But that's fine. I don't mind that. So I'm going to protect with my Garchomp and my Gambit. They can Encore my Garchomp. They can't Encore the Gambit because I'm a Dark type, which is immune to Prankster boosting moves. They go for Ice Beam. That's pretty reasonable. I think here I'd probably either want to go... I think I go hard into Prim. And I go for a Sword Stance here. Because Gambit doesn't seem like it's heavily threatened other than maybe like Muddy Water or Scald plus Moonblast. But I should tank it reasonably well. Then I can threaten +2, Sucker Punch, or Kowtow. If they go Sneasler, I guess it's a little bit concerning, but I don't know if they're going to double out the Milo here. Because I feel like if you're going to bring out Sneasler, it's probably going to be the next turn, so I can probably get Scovillain in afterward. I'm thinking about like the sequencing ahead in this game. So Garchomp, don't want to take an Ice Beam. It's really valuable in this match. I will go Prim. And let's see. They go for Encore and they target the Garchomp slot, which is nice. So they probably went for, yep, Scald into the Gambito. No burn is what we love to see. No burn is what we love to see. And we will get a +2. So that's really good. Milotics, I don't think run Haze. There's not really much reason to run Haze. I guess they could, but that's fine if they do. My best option is to go Scovillain and just go for a Kowtow into the Milotic, because Milotic's really a pain for me to knock out, so I need to try to get rid of it. I could also go for the Whimsicott, but I really don't feel like the Whimsicott's applying that much pressure at the moment, so I'd rather just keep Whimsicott on the field. Milotic, though, has a chance to burn. It has that Ice Beam threat to my Garchomp. I think I'd rather just target down the Milo. So bring out the Scovillain. Also, if they protect Moonblast, it's also pretty reasonable, but that's fine for me. They do go for Moonblast. I think I live the double up, though. Ooh, that's going to be close. Do I? I do. Okay. No burn is really lucky. I am able to get the Kowtow off into the Milo, and I do take the knockout Milo. So fantastic, fantastic turn. Special attack boost? All right, Scovillain. Scovillain is in. All right, that's a really, that was like the best Moody boost. I mean, obviously speed or defense would have been better. Defense would have been the best case, but Sneasler in, which is fine. I'm just gonna go for, I'm just gonna go for my Terra. I just double, no, I don't double protect here. I think I just Flamethrower the Whimsicott. They could fake out Scovillain, Moonblast to Gambit. I think that's fine. I think I just double up the Whimsicott, because I know the Whimsicott's definitely clicking Moonblast. I don't know if there's a fake out coming out from the Sneasler. If they do, that's fine. I feel like the last threat to my Garchomp is going to be the Whimsicott, so I'm going to try to get rid of Whimsicott if I can this turn. I think Whimsicott always Moonblast. I don't know where the fake out's going off into. If they go for it, they don't, so I do get a Sucker Punch off into the Whimsicott, which is nice. And they will go for Dire Claw, which I will hang on. Yep. I think I live Moonblast too from the Whimsicott. I burned the Sneasler, so the Sneasler's no longer a threat, which is solid. They go for Moonblast and they target down the Gambit. That makes sense because the Rage Powder it would be immune to because it is a grass type. Gambit goes down, but I am able to get rid of the Whimsicott, and now Garchomp looks so good against whatever they have in the back. Okay, really good turn, really good turn. And we will go out into Garchomp now. Actually, let me think about this. If it's Glimmora, I win the game 100%. Instant and T-Tar aren't... Yeah, I just go out into Garchomp. Yeah, it's Glimmora. I do win the game 100% then. Because the Glimmora has no way to threaten the Garchomp. Unless I'm like completely blind to the moveset, but... Yeah, I can Rage Powder with Scovillain, and I can go for Stomping Tantrum. And if I do this... The only problem is if... Okay, I can lose the game. It's really unlikely to. But I guess I can lose in Fury. The reason I can lose in Fury is if the Sneasler has Protect, they could Protect. They have to hard read on where my Garchomp's attack. Ooh, okay, they got it. Unless they double protected, which double protecting is kind of a toss here. Yeah, they double protected. That's a toss here. The reason is I think they had to read Stomping Tantrum. I can't Earthquake in this position because if I Earthquake and they double protect like that, I think they were trying to hope for fishing me into Earthquaking my own Scovillain so I get burned by my own ability, which is why I didn't want to click Earthquake. But I understand the attempts. They went for the double protect. I felt like their win con was just going for a protect called a Stomping Tantrum because I don't want to click Earthquake because if I burn my Scovillain, it's just a loss. So here, I think I just Rage Powder and I click Stomping. They saw that I'm targeting a Sneasler because they know about Dire Claw, so there is a world where I could see them going for the double protect to Sneasler and not the Glimmora. So I'm going to target the Glimmora. Glimmora is going to Mega Ball, so that means it should be going for an attack here. I think they're going to go for either double protect with the Sneasler, or they're going to go for Dire Claw plus attack here. I think those are the most likely odds. They didn't protect either, so I do win the game regardless. But yeah, Scovillain will sacrifice itself, but it is for the good of the game. Oh, they went for coaching. Does this live the Stomping? I really doubt it. 4 times. Yeah. I was about to say, I didn't think it did. So Glimmora goes down and the game is over. Smart play on their part. They tried to go for that, but it just didn't work out. I didn't think so. I know Glimmora has some pretty decent defense, but it is still a 4 times effective move there. So from a Garchomp. So we will be able to take the win. And Scovillain was actually pretty nice in this, especially. I mean, the Moody Boost didn't really matter too much, but the fact that Scovillain was able to burn the Sneasler and just having that redirection is actually really nice. It's super underrated. Like a support Mega is actually pretty decent. All right, we have Gengar, Incineroar, King Gambit, Tyranitar, Como, and Sinistcha. Kind of a scary team. They do have triple Dark though, and I do have a Sneasler, which you do love to see, but there are some pretty big threats. They do have the Sinistcha, which can redirect my fighting type moves. My Scovillain's kind of weird here. It's good into the physical attackers, but it's not great into the Gengar, which is a very concerning Pokemon. I do have a really good Pokemon for Gengar and Gambit, but they do have a Como, so there's a lot of nuances here, which I'm gonna have to figure out. I don't think I want to bring Aerodactyl because even though Aerodactyl speed is nice, it is kind of concerning how dealing like Rock Slide isn't doing too much. Tailwind's nice, but it's not like necessary. I do think that my best play here is probably either Sneasler plus Primarina or Sneasler plus Gambit, I think. It's just tough because Gengar Como is always a game of how well I can play around the Gengar, because Shadow Attack trapping is going to be annoying. Because if they get rid of my Primarina, I lose to Como, and the Gengar is just threatening otherwise. And if they get rid of my Gambit, I lose to the Gengar. So never an easy spot. I think I'm going to do Gambit plus Prim lead and then do Sneasler and Scovillain back and see what they lead here. But yeah, I think Como is super scary and real in this. So I'm kind of curious on what they decide to go with in this game plan. I do expect Gengar for sure. I expect Gengar Sinistra with Como. The last might be Incineroar. Okay, they lead Gambit plus Como, which is pretty good for me, I'd say. Because I do lead Primarina plus Gambit. And I think my best play is just to go Sneasler and Calm Mind here. Because the Como doesn't want to get hit by a Moonblast. Yeah, I think this is pretty reasonable. I don't think they're going to go for the fighting move. I think they protect and then maybe attack with the Gambit. Maybe they have low kick. We'll see. Yeah, Como protects. Beautiful. Excellent start. And we get a free Calm Mind. This could be like Iron Head and Primarina, which would do a decent amount of damage, but it shouldn't put me in range of a Como attack unless it's physical Como, which I'd be kind of surprised by because most of them are special. They do go for the Iron Head into Primarina, which I will be able to tank. Okay. Now I do threaten close combat into Gambit as well as Moonblast into Como. So how can they try to reposition? If they have Sinistra, they could go Sinistra. That makes sense. I think my best play is still to Hyper Voice. And the question is, do I want to go for coaching? I'm kind of tempted to go for coaching to boost up my Primarina's defense. Do they risk the Como here? Because if they risk Como, I'm not liking their game plan into the Gengar or into my... I don't think I like their game plan into my Gambit that way. So I think Como does retreat here. Let's see if it's Primarina or Gengar. Incineroar is also a pretty good mon for me to handle. So I will get a free coaching and Hyper Voice if this is protect the Gambit, which is also pretty good. Oh, they double swap. So this is Gengar, which is actually really good for me. Oh, Sinistra. They didn't bring Gengar, which is really interesting here. Okay. So I do get a coaching off with the Primarina, so I get a free defense boost. It's going to be mattering for when the King Gambit comes back, and I get a free Hyper Voice into the Incineroar. Massive damage, which is solid. Okay, I really love that turn. All right. Granted, my Como situation is still a little bit shaky, but I think this is pretty reasonable here. I like the idea of just going for a Dire Claw into Sinistra and Hyper Voice because I should be, or not Hyper Voice, Moonblast into Sinistra. Sinistras don't usually carry Protect. They're usually like mostly full supportive. If I can KO the Sinistra, I think that's pretty good because that means no redirection I have to deal with. And Incineroar is not like too offensive a threat. And if they switch out, it works out even better for me. So they go Gambit here and I get a free Dire Claw plus Moonblast. Interesting Gambit switch also. But I do get a Dire Claw off. Activates the Citrus, which is fine. They go for Matcha Gotcha. So they're going to heal off the Prim, but my Primarina is still boosted, which is nice. Okay. The big question is... Okay, they heal. My Prim should be healthy. Nice. No burn. That's the important part. Do get a Moonblast off. Huge damage. I want to say Dire Claw... Does Dire Claw knock out the Sinistra at that range? I think it does. If I'm not mistaken. So I think my best play is just to Dire Claw the Sinistra and just protect the Prim. Because I want to make sure, again, I'm healthy for the Como. They're going to switch back into Incineroar and probably try to get a Matcha Gotcha off. That makes sense. Yep. But I'm okay with that because I'm making sure my Prim doesn't go down to or get too low to Matcha Gotcha here. So Dire Claw, I have a chance to knock out, but I think probably not with the... Oh, we actually do KO with the... Even through the Intim. So I do get the KO on Sinistra, which I was not expecting. I could have got a double knockout here and the game would have ended, which would have been nice. But granted, I don't think this is a terrible spot either. Because most likely Primarina's faster than Gambit, unless they super sped crept with their Gambit. So they could go Como. Oh, they go Gambit. Interesting. I mean, I don't see a reason why I wouldn't just close combat the Gambit slot and just throw off a Hyper Voice. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. They're probably going to fake out Iron Head to Prim. Yeah. Which shouldn't even knock out Prim, by the way. Like, I actually don't think this knocks out Prim. And close combat just knocks out the Gambit even through the Intimidate. Because I'm only -1 and not -2 because of the wider from earlier. So I do win the game here because then I can close combat the Incin and then I can Moonblast the Como the next turn. So very nice. And that's kind of the power of like Primarina. Very surprised I didn't bring Gengar because I feel like in this matchup you would probably have to trap here my Primarina. Like Como is super weak against fairies. And the thing about, of course, Primarina, it's a water fairy type, so it's neutral to Iron Head. So works out really well for me there. All right, we have Whimsicott, Glamora with Basculegion, Incineroar, Sneasler, and Alola Ninetales. Reminds me a lot about Regulation H, actually. So I'm kind of curious. I imagine that this is Mega Glamora, which means I'll need Garchomp. Garchomp's also good against both double, like it's good into a decent amount of this team. The Ninetales is the only scary thing I really have to worry about. Okay. I think I want to lead Aerodactyl. I'm thinking Aerodactyl plus Scovillain because I want to see if I can burn some of the threats immediately or just get damage on the Ninetales, which Ninetales is a huge threat to me. I think I have to bring Gambit in this matchup. I don't think I need Sneasler in this matchup, although it's like okay-ish. I want to bring Gambit for the Basculegion because I want the Sucker Punch threat. I think I always bring Aerodactyl to match speed. I kind of like Aerodactyl plus Scovillain because even though it's kind of a passive lead, I think it kind of works in this situation because I like the idea of Rock Slide Flamethrower covering a lot of what they have to offer and then bring, I think, Gambit and Garchomp back. I think this makes the most sense. The only thing is I'm a little bit passive against Incineroar, but granted, I don't think it's like the worst here. Because I think they have to bring Ninetales because they need it for my Garchomp. They're really weak to Garchomp. Glamora is, I don't know if they even bring Glamora because Glamora is weak. But Ninetales plus Sneasler. Okay, this works out. Aerodactyl Scovillain. Wish I had a weather move here, but granted this is fine. I like the idea of just going for Protect. And I think I'm fine with going for a Mega here. I like the idea of just going for a Mega and Flamethrower to Ninetales. I know it's not like Terra where I'd get the full fire typing because that'd be really nice here, but I mean, they would have to go for Dire Claw plus Blizzard. They could go for like Fake Out plus Aurora Veil, which definitely makes sense to me. I'm not exactly sure if they're fearing the Aerodactyl because I think Aerodactyl gets dual Wing Beat, so they could be fearing that. I wish I had dual Wing Beat in this position, but yeah, they do Fake Out the Aerodactyl, which is perfect. So I get a free Flamethrower off into Ninetales. They go for the Blizzard. Beautiful. Scovillain absolutely eats and will get the burn, which is nice because that might put it in range of Rock Slide, which would be really solid here. Flamethrower gonna come out and it's oh, brings it down to Sash. Really nice. I actually didn't think that would bring it down to Sash just because Ninetales is really good spit def and I don't have any special attack investment, but that worked out really well. I gave it a Ninetales for free, so that's a huge knockout. And now I threaten the burns with the Scovillain, so that's a pretty nice turn. Whimsicott in. Okay, I did just Protect. So I think we do want to retreat. We're going to go out into our Gambit. The problem is this Whimsicott's actually kind of concerning. The Whimsicott is kind of concerning too. I think my best play though is just to switch out into Gambit because I don't think they lock close combat into Aerodactyl. Unless they think I have a flying move, but I'm just going to go for a Protect. Yeah. If they close combat, great play on their part. Like, actually great play on their part, but we'll see. I think it's most likely they would Dire Claw Moonblast or they tire down the Scovillain, most likely with Dire Claw, I'm assuming. Because Scovillain is actually kind of a threat to them. They do go for the Encore into the Aerodactyl, and I imagine Dire Claw into the Scovillain. Yep, perfect. So that works out really well for me. And now I can go for a Sword Stance with my Gambit into a Rage Powder. And I think that's pretty safe here. And I like that play a lot because of the fact that I should be able to get some really good damage into Sneasler in the upcoming turns. Especially with the burn damage adding up, that'd be really nice. So they could Protect with the Sneasler if they have Protect. We know it's not Sash Sneasler, so curious. I don't think, well, we haven't seen an item confirmation yet. It could be White Herb, which is definitely reasonable. We do get the Rage Powder off. This won't redirect to Moonblast, but we probably go down to Dire Claw anyway. Oh, they lock my Scovillain in the Rage Powder, so I don't even take Moonblast, which is actually really nice here. They go for close combat, so I assume if you're going for close combat, you're probably unburdened. That didn't KO Scovillain. Oh my goodness, Scovillain is insane. And we get the Spicy Spray off. Huge. It is Wind Up though, so that's not surprising. I'm curious, who's faster, the Sneasler or the Whimsicott? Because that actually matters a lot. It could be either. Realistically, I can't tell. I can't tell in this position. I should always Sucker Punch a Sneasler, though. Yeah, I should always Sucker Punch a Sneasler. I think Sucker Punch Rage Powder's best. I guess I could have protected as well. Okay, that works out too. If they protect, this actually works out better for me. I assume if that's the case, then most likely their Sneasler is faster than Whimsicott, which makes sense because the base speed on Sneasler is faster than Whimsicott. Yeah, if they're going for the Moonblast and they're targeting Scovillain, yeah, it has to be faster. Okay, that works out beautifully for me. Okay, now I can go Aerodactyl and I can click Rock Slide and I can click my... I could go Rock Slide, Protect, and ensure the Sneasler's in range of Sucker Punch. Oh yeah, we confirmed. Even if like that didn't give it away, we saw this burn happen on the Sneasler first, so it's guaranteed. Okay, yeah. We go Aerodactyl. We want to click Rock Slide and Protect here. Is there a Pokemon I'm forgetting in the back that could screw me over? Basculegion, we Sucker Punch. Glim goes down to a bunch of things. I'm not too concerned about it. We just Protect here and we just Rock Slide. We get some fresh damage on the Whimsicott, which is also pretty good, but more importantly, that chip damage on Sneasler. Close combat and Moonblast, I don't think knocks out Aerodactyl if I am not mistaken, but we'll see. They go for Protect, so I'm assuming... What is this? Is this close combat to Gambit? I guess burned close combat probably doesn't knock out Gambit. Yeah. Okay, just hit the Rock Slide, man. Nice. Oh yeah, and that's not Frail Sneasler. That definitely is going down to Sucker Punch. So we click Sucker Punch and Rock Slide. I'm curious if I think their last Pokemon should be Basculegion at this point. But yeah, we go for Sucker Punch. We just spam Rock Slide. And I think we'll be in a good spot. So we Sucker Punch this Sneasler and we Rock Slide here. Actually, maybe it doesn't. Yeah, but it's still my best play, I think. I guess I could go Garchomp, but I think I could still beat Basque even if... Yeah, I could still beat Basque, depending on what it is. Oh, they switch out to Sneasler, which is interesting. Okay, what's our last? Basculegion. Okay, it is Basque, but the thing is, they don't have any pressure against my Gambit right now, so that's fine. Free Rock Slide, and then this is a Moonblast into the Gambit. So they don't even break my Sash on my Aerodactyl, so this is perfect. If they got the Moonblast special attack drop, it was a 100% game over. We just go for Sucker Punch into a Rock Slide. Even if they switch out an Aqua Jet, that's still pretty reasonable because, I mean, they're just getting chipped with everything at this point, so it's not really like that big of a deal. They also need damage on both Aerodactyl and Gambit because they have to break the Sash on Aerodactyl, but they also need chip damage on my Gambit. I'm assuming it's probably Choice Scarf Basculegion that was very popular in Regulation H, and again, this team kind of resembles a Regulation H team, so that's what I'm kind of playing towards. Because the worst case would be them wave crashing, and then I'm in an awful spot. I also assume it's probably Scarf Basculegion. They do switch out the Whimsicott into the Sneasler. And they do Jet. Okay. Which is fine. So, I mean, they are getting some mind games right, but granted, like, this is still not a terrible spot for me. Trying to think about my best play here. I think my best play is just to go for a Protect with the Gambit and swap out into Garchomp. Yes. The reason is if they go for like Aqua Jet or if they go for like a fake out into the... I mean, they should fake out the Gambit and probably just jet the arrow. I'm assuming that they could double out into Whimsicott to try and go for an Encore Lock, which is also fine because they're in Sucker Punch range regardless. If they take the Rough Skin damage with the burn... If they take the Rough Skin damage, they're just in such a rough spot with Sneasler. So let's see. It's fake out Gambit, but even Aqua Jet is pretty rough for them here. Yeah, they go for Aqua Jet. And I can go for Sucker Punch into the Sneasler, and I can go for Stomping Tantrum into the Basculegion. Because if it's Scarf, it is locked into Aqua Jet, and the only way they could outspeed Garchomp is through a Scarf. So Garchomp will outspeed the Basculegion, doesn't have to worry about Aqua Jet, and can KO this Basculegion. So that's why I want to go Garchomp. They're going to retreat into Whimsicott. I think that's a fair play. I don't know if Whimsicott lives Stomping Tantrum into the burn damage, though, which is pretty big. And also, they give me the Sneasler. They were hoping to catch the Sucker Punch of Basculegion, but always target down a D Sneasler there. Pretty much helps ensure. And I think Stomping Tantrum will KO the Whimsicott with the burn. I remember this being decently low. Yeah. So now they go out in the Basque, and it's a 3v1, and they just can't win the game. Because if they lock themselves in the Aqua Jet, my Garchomp's going to KO them because a crit Aqua Jet won't KO me. And if they go for Wave Crash, Sucker Punch is going to get them. Or Last Respect or whatever move that they want to click. So that is a good game. So Whim's got a little bit tough with the Sneasler and the Ninetales, but we were able to pull through. I think getting rid of the Ninetales immediately was so massive for me. Also, I should have probably clicked Dragon Claw, but I mean, I guess since I don't reveal information, it doesn't matter. Sucker Punch will KO the Basculegion, take the knockout, beautiful. And we were able to kind of just like, even though they were trying to dance around like the Sucker Punch, the thing is, they still had like no damage pressure against the Gambit, and I was getting free chip damage with my other slot, which is why it kind of resulted. I was able to just out damage them because they were too busy trying to play around the Sucker Punch. All right, we have Sneasler Vivian with Incineroar, Gengar, Garchomp, and Gardevoir. So this is a very interesting team. I imagine Vivian's probably Sash. I wonder if it's Friend Guard or Compound Eyes. Compound Eyes for the Sleep Powder, but of course it could have Friend Guard as an ability. I think it's probably Compound Eyes. Scovillain is pretty decent as this team, but the Gengar is a very concerning mon. Although I don't really see how they break through Gambit plus Scovillain. Gambit plus Scovillain is actually really tough for them. Which I think is probably the mode I want to go for, I assume. Yeah, there's not really much I could say that stops the Gambit. So I think I'm going to do Gambit plus Scovillain, and then their own Garchomp's kind of annoying. I guess the question is, do I want Aerodactyl? Aerodactyl's not terrible in this matchup. The fact that Aerodactyl can, of course, just give me the Tailwind speed advantage is nice, but Sneasler plus Primarina are also tempting because I do get the coaching, which is nice. I think Sneasler plus Primarina is pretty solid. I could also lead Sneasler, Gambit, but I am probably the slower Sneasler. Yeah, I'm the slowest Sneasler probably, so I think it's never worth it. Okay, let's see how this goes. I'm kind of curious on what they lead here. Gengar is going to be threatening. It depends on the partner, of course. There is a world where I don't set up the Gambit. It kind of depends on if I can get rid of the Gengar immediately or not. Garchomp, Vivian. Okay, that works. Okay. I don't really need to boost, I think. It kind of depends on their partner. Ooh, this is a little bit strange. It could be Swords Dance Garchomp, so I can't really afford to play passive here. Gambit lives one attack here. I think my play is to go for Kowtow. And I kind of just want a Flamethrower. Because if they go for Hurricane, they get burned. Like Earthquake, Hurricane, they'll burn themselves. Which I think works out. I don't think they click Sleep Powder in this position. I guess they could. Vivian isn't immune to Sleep Powder or Rage Powder. They do go for Earthquake, so I could have protected. Okay. That's still fine. Yeah, it doesn't KO the Gambit, and the Garchomp is asleep or burned. Will I go sleep or will I get Hurricaned? They sleep powder. Okay, that's fine. Not ideal, but that's still pretty reasonable. I think Gambit lives the next attack, which is funny. I do get the Flamethrower off into the Vivian, bring it to Focus Sash, but still kind of an awkward spot. On the bright side, I did take a turn of sleep already, so that's actually kind of positive here. So that damage did about 132. So I definitely live unless they double up here. It's not Lumberry Garchomp as well, which I was a little bit concerned about. I'm trying to figure out how I position the rest though. Gambit was kind of nice, but overall, I guess not too bad. I think I just sack Gambit here, most likely. I think I just go for a Kowtow and I go for a Protect. Because I can only take 2 turns of sleep in this game because they changed the sleep mechanic. So I could Sucker Punch threaten the Vivian the next turn if I don't wake up this turn. And then Leech Seed the Garchomp, which isn't an awful decision. I wonder if they Hurricane double up my Gambit. I do live on 1 HP, which is nice. Oh, they Tailwind. Okay. Do I wake up? I don't. But I do threaten the Sucker Punch now. So I can Sucker Punch and I can Leech Seed, which isn't terrible. Because I do want to prevent Hurricane or Pollen Puff. So I will Sucker Punch and I will Leech Seed the Garchomp. And then the rest is going to come down to like how well I can play afterward. I guess I could have protected as well, but I definitely don't. I think I want Scovillain around so I can Rage Powder the Gengar, which is a massive threat to me. I go for Earthquake. Beautiful. The problem is, can I beat Gengar? I think it's going to be really tough to beat the Gengar. I do get the Leech Seed off though, which is nice. Okay. Alright, so Scovillain will heal, but I'm not liking the odds of winning this just because the Gengar is so tough for me to handle. I am going to go out into Primarina here. Oh, this is super rough. Oh, it's Gardevoir coming out. Interesting. That works out really well for me, actually. They have a Gengar, right? They do have a Gengar. Okay. I do want to keep Scovillain around. I think my play is always to Calm Mind here, because unless Gardevoir specs or if it's Mega, then I should be okay to just go for Protect, Calm Mind. It's Mega Gardevoir, so it's not Mega Gengar. That's actually good news for me, because I think Gengar was definitely more scarier out of the bunch. So that works out for me. This is turn 2 of Tailwind, so I can stall it out, which is great. They Earthquake their own Gardevoir. Okay. It might be Scarf Chomp. We don't know for sure, though. Still did a decent amount of damage. They go for Hyper Voice. That's fine. Can they even damage the Scovillain? I don't even know if they can damage the Scovillain. I do get a Calm Mind up. Nice. They have to double up the Scovillain with Psychic, I'm pretty sure, but they can't ignore the Primarina either, so this might not be a terrible spot for Scovillain to come in. I still don't know if they... I should be good here. If they Hyper Voice, they get burned. Flamethrower nowhere is going to be near enough to deal with the Gardevoir, so I think I just Protect here. And I think I just Leech Seed the Gardevoir. They should switch out the Garchomp, I imagine, if they're Scarf, but we'll see. They're not switching out the Garchomp, so... Did they Psychic here? Do I live to Psychic too? They did go for the Earthquake, which is surprising to me because... Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because they went for Hyper Voice. I guess they really want to KO the Prim, but... I mean, I think Gardevoir lives the Leech Seed plus the Burn by like a sliver, which is kind of annoying. I think it's just going to come down to what the last Pokemon is, but it's not Mega Gengar, so my Sneasler can actually do work in the end game. And I'm just recovering so much HP with the Leech Seed, so I don't know. I guess they are Scarf Garchomp, but I'm curious on why they're not switching. Maybe it's like Incineroar in the back? But I feel like you would rather switch in Incineroar to Hyper Voice. Yeah, I'm just in really good shape right now. My best play is just to protect the Scovillain and go for a double protect with Prim. Yeah, it's just to go for a double protect with Prim. Whenever Mon is in the back, I'm pretty sure it loses to Sneasler, so I should be good here. So I am gonna go for a Hyper Voice. I mean, they're gonna forfeit, yeah. Whatever they had in the back, well, they didn't know what my last is, so I'm still a bit surprised that they forfeit, but yeah. Am I crazy? It wasn't a last tier, right? I only KO'd Vivian in that match, so I'm not exactly sure why, but you know what? I'll take it. I don't question it. Scovillain just did Scovillain things. All right, we have Charizard, Garchomp, Torkoal, Farigiraf, King Gambit, and Incineroar. I feel like I have deja vu. Oh yeah, wait, isn't this the first match? I'm pretty sure it was the first match. Although I don't remember the Charizard. Is this the first match? It looks really similar to the first match that I played. Hold on. Let me double check. But were they Noel? No, it was... No. Alright, we have Charizard, Garchomp, Torkoal, Farigiraf, King Gambit, and Incineroar. I don't know why. I feel like I'm having deja vu, but it is not. I think, lead-wise, I go with Prim plus Sneasler or Scovillain. Both are not terrible here. I think I'm going to go Sneasler lead. With Scovillain, do I bring Gambit? I think Garchomp's better. Or Arrow. I think Garchomp, I'm not a big fan of Gambit in this matchup because the Farigiraf, they also have Double Dark as well. Aerodactyl I was considering because it is really good into Garchomp's or Garchomp Charizard stuff, but my only concern with that Aerodactyl is that I can't really stall out Trick Room as efficiently, I feel. Aerodactyl might have still been better over Garchomp just because of the wide guard, but we'll see. I think I could still win with this combo, but we'll find out. All right, they lead Garchomp Charizard. I wish I led Arrow, but this is fine still. I do lead Sneasler Primarina. Oh man, if I had Arrow in the back, I think I have like such a solid line into it. I think I should have brought it. I think I go for Calm Mind here with the Prim, and I think I just go for a fake out into the Garchomp. I think Sneasler could live a Heat Wave. We'll find out. If it's Solar Beam from the Charizard, Prim will live at the very least, but it's not going to be healthy, which is concerning. But, I mean, we'll find out. Okay. I could have also faked out Moonblast, which might have been better in retrospect. I didn't think Farigiraf was switching in because I felt like it was super unlikely that they would go for it. They do go for Solar Beam immediately. Okay, that's fine. It's not ideal, but it's like, okay. Alright, they go for the Solar Beam into the Prim. Oh my goodness. Is that crit? Okay. I have one out. This needs to not be Scarf Garchomp. Also, they have Salmon Tantrum. They could go for Salmon Tantrum double base power and it's like super cooked, but we're going to go for Coaching and we're going to go for Dragon Claw and we're just going to hope that Garchomp can win. Charizard protects, which is huge for me because now I can potentially KO the Garchomp, ideally. It's Scarf. Okay. Because it outsped my Sneasler, which is designed to outspeed Garchomp. Yeah, I mean, I was still put in a bad spot. I feel like if I had Arrow, like Arrow would have been way more ideal to have, but like even then it's kind of disappointing that like it just was a game lost to a crit immediately on the Prim. Can I win the game? If I had Rock Slide, maybe, but I don't have Rock Slide. Maybe if they fear Rock Slide and they like heavily misplay, maybe, but it's just like so unlikely, I think. They also probably have like Incineroar in the back, maybe. But yeah, like I don't think, unless maybe Scovillain gets an insane Moody boost for Farigiraf. They probably attack here. They either go instant and trying to figure out. I think my only hope is just to protect the Garchomp and go for a... I don't even know. I think I need a good Moody boost, basically. Ah, they did retreat Charizard. I was hoping that they would be... They could have been scared of the Rock Slide. And I was debating about, do I double the Giraffe? But I don't even think double the Giraffe KOs. But I could have went for like a crit on one of my attacks. It's over. Unless they didn't Trick Room here. But I feel like if you attacked here, you definitely click Trick Room, right? Yeah. Do I get some insane Moody... Like, there's no Moody boost that saves me the game, unfortunately. That's the problem. Well, Spitef helps, but like, it's not enough. It's not enough. That's a problem. It's not enough. Unless Scovillain is like absolutely insane, unfortunately, the crit turn 1 just really hurts. They go for Helping Hand, so this is Eruption. I failed to protect on the Garchomp. That makes sense. How much does this do to Scovillain? Probably a lot. If I get another special defense boost immediately, maybe there's a comeback chance, but I think it's super unlikely. We are going to fish for it, though. Because we might as well. There's not, like... Unless Moody Scovillain can go insane here. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. They could switch out into Charizard, too. They either Helping Hand Eruption or they're gonna go for switch. Ooh, okay, wait, hold on. This is what I need. This is what I need. Wait, this is what I need. Why did they attack with Giraffe? I feel like Helping Hand Eruption does more. Oh, Psychic Noise. Man, why do you have Psychic Noise, man? Oh, also the Sun wore off, which is actually kind of huge. Wait. How does it work with Leech Seed? I know I don't get the healing, but do I get anything else? Okay. I mean, we Leech Seed the Giraffe because we... Oh, wait. I can't use Leech Seed regardless. I just realized I can't use Leech Seed regardless if they click Psychic Noise. I should have Flamethrowered. Oh, they crit me anyway. He tried, man. He tried. Like... What can he do? I should have brought Arrow, though. I should have brought Aerodactyl. I think I had a much better line into the Garchomp plus the Charizard with Aerodactyl. Granted, it still required not getting crit turn 1 by the Garchomp, but I had a much better line. I will say that much. Had a much better line. I could have also faked out the Charizard as well, but I was still, again, a lot of my lines needed Aerodactyl. I think Garchomp was way worse. So, how was the team? I think the team is still pretty cool. I really liked my own additions that I had with Aerodactyl. I think Aerodactyl, a really cool mon in this format. I think it's actually really good, especially if Charizard Y picks up. And at least be tying like Mega Gengar, Rock Slide. Rock Cover is just really good, I think, overall in this format. It's very much appreciated. Really great. Scovillain was a mon that was able to actually put in a good amount of work. As I mentioned before, as a support Pokemon, it's pretty nice. Its ability was actually pretty absurd, and having, again, Rage Power that's super buffed in this version of Pokemon Champions at the current beginning, because there's no safety goggles, which is super solid for Scovillain. Really able to put in a ton of work, and I think people are disrespecting status a little bit, so having that option to burn opponents is amazing. And of course, King Gamma Primarina just able to sweep teams. Sneasel doing Sneasel things. That is what we have for the first video of Pokemon Champions. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like down below, as it really does help me out. Let me know what you thought about Mega Scovillain. Did it do more work than you thought it did? Or were you a little bit disappointed because it wasn't like brought it to like every single major game? But there were some cases, of course, we were just able to win before Scovillain was able to pop out. However, of course, it was more of a supportive Mega. It isn't meant to be sweeping. It is, again, meant to be a supportive role, using its ability, I think, to the most effectiveness, because, again, it's really hard to set up a sweeper in this kind of case, but Moody could be fun for some shenanigans. Again, if you want to try out the team, make sure you grab it quick because it will be expiring, because I'll be posting a bunch of Pokemon Champions content, which means we'll have a bunch of teams. So if you do want to try out these teams, make sure you grab them because they're going to go by fast. And yeah, make sure you subscribe to this channel and the bonus channel for more. But that is going to be it for me. Have a great one, and I hope to catch you around in another episode of Pokemon Champions.